visiting from as far away as Europe and Asia. The store, in fact, is opening up 10 new accounts a day. And you just found
I just found my membership card over the weekend.
Everybody had a Blockbuster card.
Oh, yeah. That was a huge deal. I remember when I first got it, I was so excited that I could rent movies.
Tapes, probably. VHS tapes?
Yes, of course.
Times have changed.
Yes, they have. Sometimes you just don't want to change with them, right?
Why don't you take that Blockbuster card out to Bend, Oregon, and rent a movie? And that's our time for now. Thanks for watching. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Thanks for helping out today. News 3 at 5.
Right now at 5, a developing story out of Rockford as a sheriff's deputy has been shot and killed. We will have live coverage from the scene.
Plus, a man arrested after hitting and killing an off-duty firefighter on the Beltline no longer faces drunk driving charges. Plus,
why anti-hate leaders are denouncing a conservative candidate for the Wisconsin Supreme Court.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 5.
And thanks for staying with News 3. After a shooting in Rockford.
5-year-old 7.5-year veteran of the department. Our Adam Dexter joins us from the scene where it all happened this morning. Adam?
Well, Eric and Charlotte, the McHenry County Sheriff's Office confirming in a tweet that one of their own deputies was shot and killed this morning outside the Extended Stay America Hotel as he helped a U.S. Marshal issue a warrant. Police say it all started this morning at around 9 a.m. when 39-year-old Floyd Brown shot and killed the deputy before leaving the hotel and driving away. Now, Illinois State Patrol caught him south of here on I-55. Authorities say earlier today in a press conference that Brown has a detailed criminal history.
Mr. Brown is from the central Illinois area. Mr. Brown was wanted on warrants out of Sangamon County, Champaign County, McLean County, and he was also wanted on an Illinois Department of Corrections parole violation warrant.
After being stopped by authorities on Interstate 55, Brown barricaded himself in his vehicle where he still is as of this moment. According to police, there was a third person involved in this altercation, a female companion of Brown's who they say was shot, but not by police. As for a motive, police say it's too early to tell and that they are in the very beginning stages of an investigation. Rockford police say they will hold a press conference to discuss the details of today at 6 p.m. We'll keep you covered on that on News 3 Now.
Adam, thank you.
Police in Janesville say they have arrested a fugitive who had been on the run for about 2 years. The Janesville Police Department says it learned that 27-year-old Quentin Cobb would be at the Walmart in Janesville last night. Officers found him there and chased him to his vehicle in the parking lot. Police say Cobb resisted arrest and was tased before being taken to the Rock County Jail. During his arrest, police say they also found 5 grams of heroin that also tested positive for fentanyl. And Cobb had warrants out for his arrest in both Illinois and Arkansas. He now faces additional drug charges.
A man accused of killing a Lake Mills firefighter was officially charged in Dane County Court today.
Samuel Kremers hit Fire Captain Chris Truman on the Beltline. You may recall this was on New Year's Eve. Our Keely Arthur joins us to explain why the charge against him has changed. Keely?
Well, initially Kremers was arrested on that tentative charge of homicide by drunken driving, but he blew a .079 during a breathalyzer test, which is below Wisconsin's legal limit to drive. So things have changed.
The actual amount of prison he's facing is less. If convicted, the fines are less if convicted.
Was it something tracked? So just to bring you up to speed here, we are having some technical difficulties. Let me just get my mic so we can explain what's going on. Okay, so Kremers is officially charged with knowingly operating a motor vehicle while suspended causing death, which is a felony. His license was first suspended in 2014 when he failed to pay fines to the Madison Municipal Courthouse. While this new charge is less severe than the one involving drunk driving, it still carries a maximum of up to 6 years in prison. Now, Madison defense attorney Tim Veerhoff, who is not working on this case, says it's important to draw the distinction between a suspended license and a revoked one. Suspension often happens because of unpaid fines. Revocation is usually a result of an OWI. Kremers is suspended again. Now, Kremers hit the fire captain who was outside of his car. He had stopped along the Beltline near Monona Drive on New Year's Eve to help another driver.
All right, Keely, thank you. Obviously, we apologize for those audio difficulties. Let's get a look at your first alert forecast now. Chief Meteorologist Gary Canolti on the backyard patio. Gary?
It's a little cold here, but for the most part, pretty comfortable. We've got a little bit of sun to shine through the clouds. The cloud track shows west, and on Doppler track, there's some light snow to our south and west, although you can see the general direction toward the south and east. We're just going to get sideswiped by that. There might be a little bit of light snow or flurries that makes it into far southern Wisconsin. If we get an inch of snow in any one spot, that's going to be a lot. Most areas will just see a dusting, if that. Low temperatures this morning, very cold again, especially for the first week of March. 2 degrees, the low temperature here in Madison. To the north, temperatures were below zero. High temperatures generally in the lower to middle 20s. And right now, temperatures are about the same as the high temperatures, maybe a degree or two down from the highs of the day. As we look at our forecast first for tomorrow, look for temperatures to drop into the mid-teens overnight as that light snow falls. And then tomorrow will turn partly sunny in the afternoon. It'll be a little milder with a high temperature of 35 degrees. That's your News 3 Now First Alert forecast.
All right, Gary, thank you. The father of the 15-year-old Reedsburg boy who died during a 40-day fast in September has been found competent to stand trial. Kehinde Omosebi reported his son's death in September. Reedsburg police found the son's body. He was extremely emaciated. An 11-year-old in similarly thin and weak condition was also there, but still alive. Their mother, Titilayo Omosebi, was responsive, also emaciated. She pleaded guilty to felony child neglect causing death in December. Kehinde Omosebi described himself to police as a religious minister. He said his family had started a 40-day fast back in July. He's scheduled to be back in court in April.
A Madison man faces his first drunk driving charge after running into an Arby's on the east side early this morning. The 26-year-old was driving east on Portage Road toward East Washington Avenue when he failed to negotiate a curve. The man's vehicle left the road and hit the Arby's on East Washington Ave. The man was tentatively cited for first offense drunk driving. No one was injured.
Madison's police chief is telling residents they can do better after police reported there was a 41% increase in the number of stolen vehicles in February. Chief Mike Koval says since the beginning of the year, the city has reported 86 stolen automobiles. That's compared to 75 for the same time frame last year. There were 38 stolen auto reports in February. 28 of those have been recovered. Now, of those 38 stolen, 33 of them had keys in them. 11 stolen autos were unlocked and left running at the time the theft occurred.
Anti-hate leaders are denouncing a conservative candidate for a Wisconsin Supreme Court.
State Appeals Court Judge Brian Hagedorn's views on the LGBT community have come under scrutiny in recent weeks. Our Rose Schmidt joins us now to explain. Rose?
That's right. Well, Supreme Court candidate Brian Hagedorn is blaming liberals for making his personal beliefs part of the race and says he would remain impartial if elected. But LGBT rights groups and anti-hate organizations say his rhetoric has no place on the Supreme Court bench. Gathering at the state capitol, the nonpartisan group We Are Many, United Against Hate, is asking the public to take a closer look at conservative state appeals court judge Brian Hagedorn's actions.
While the judge is free to speak as he wishes, we can and should hold him accountable, and we should reject his hate.
Hagedorn recently lost support from major business groups after reports that he founded a private school that can expel students for being gay, and made controversial comments about homosexuality and abortion in blog posts from 2005. Reporters questioned his views Wednesday in Milwaukee, as seen in this video from Wisconsin Eye.
Some of the arguments that have been made against me are without doubt a blatant attempt, not just against me, but against people of faith more generally.
Hagedorn is running against liberal appeals court judge Lisa Neubauer, vying for the open seat on the state Supreme Court left by longtime Justice Shirley Abrahamson. Anti-hate leaders say they're not endorsing Neubauer, but they do want people to know that they don't condone Hagedorn's use of his Christian faith to justify his controversial beliefs.
So Judge Hagedorn represents a Christian position, but not the Christian position. Challenging him does not call Christianity itself into question.
But Hagedorn says he has not brought up his personal beliefs during this campaign, but merely responded to attacks against his faith.
I have not been running and saying anybody needs to agree with my own moral views or religious views. But what I have said is my job as a judge is to defend everyone's constitutional rights, including their right to worship as they see fit.
Both candidates were in Elkhart Lake today. Hagedorn's campaign issued a statement to us late this afternoon, reiterating comments he made yesterday. But Neubauer's campaign has not returned multiple requests for comment. Now, WISC-TV is partnering with WisPolitics and the State Bar of Wisconsin to host a debate between the candidates, which we will stream live on Friday, March 15th on channel3000.com. So be sure to watch for that.
All right, Rose, thank you very much.
Governor Tony Evers' capital budget proposal calls for borrowing $2 billion over the next 2 fiscal years. The plan calls for $90 million in new borrowing to help build 3 new facilities for juvenile inmates to replace the state's troubled youth prison near Irma. The budget also calls for $94 million in new borrowing to help build a new state office building and parking structure in Milwaukee, and nearly $900 million in new borrowing for UW projects. The proposal must pass both the State Building Commission and the legislature's budget writing committee.
The entire month of March is being used to raise awareness for gambling addiction, as an estimated 70 million Americans are getting ready to fill out their tournament brackets this month for March Madness. Counselors warn that what seems like fun for some can be triggering for others. They say that a behavior becomes an addiction when you think about it constantly, and the act itself is no longer enough. You'll become preoccupied all day long, and that preoccupation could start to interfere with your relationships, your job, your health, and your emotions. So, what do you say to a family member who you think may be taking a behavior too far, developing an addiction?
Confrontation is the last thing you want to do, as with anything. Same with a substance use, issue. But I think, just genuinely, calmly, expressing concern or observations that you've seen.
And for people living in our area, there are a variety of places to get help. UW Health offers mental health services, as does Connections Counseling. A local nonprofit called the Recovery Foundation gives financial aid to people who want and need treatment.
The Dane County Sheriff's Office has revealed a second Beltline service truck to team up with the current truck that covered more than 54,000 miles last year and answered some 5,400 calls for service. The Ford F-350 Super Duty was provided thanks to a number of local corporate partners. It keeps the Beltline safe and clear of broken down vehicles and helps stranded drivers get back on the road. The new vehicle has some upgrades over previous models.
From going from a 3/4 ton to a 1 ton. And the enhanced lighting system that is all digitized as opposed to, the rotating lights and everything like that. I think it will protect us a lot better, get our messages out there clearer and more concise.
The service started in 2001. It is free of charge, operates Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., covering the 16-mile stretch of Beltline from Middleton to Cottage Grove.
More to come on News 3 Now at 5. Up next, the House passes a resolution that condemns hate in all of its forms. We'll explain.
And President Donald Trump's former attorney Michael Cohen has filed a lawsuit against the Trump Organization.
On Wall Street, another day of red numbers. The Dow plummets some 200 points. The Nasdaq, an 84-point dive, and the S&P 500 lost 22.5. And we'll be right back.
The House has passed a resolution that condemns hate in all of its forms.
The measure was drafted after several recent comments by Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar criticizing congressional support of Israel. The resolution was initially focused on condemning anti-Semitism in light of Omar's remarks, but the wording was expanded to include other forms of bigotry after a backlash from some House members who felt the Muslim congresswoman was being singled out.
At the same time, I think some are surprised that having been subjected to such attacks, they're disappointed that she's not maybe a little more sensitive to the way some of her own criticisms come out.
I don't think that that the Congresswoman is perhaps appreciate the full weight of how it was heard by other people, although I don't believe it was intended in any anti-Semitic way.
Congresswoman Omar has not commented on the resolution, which does not mention her by name. This week she posted on Twitter, quote, "We must be willing to combat hate of all kinds while also calling out oppression of all kinds. I will do my best to live up to that. I hope my colleagues will join me in doing the same."
President Donald Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, has filed a lawsuit claiming the Trump Organization failed to pay nearly $2 million toward his legal defense. The lawsuit filed today alleges breach of contract and seeks damages on Cohen's behalf. The lawsuit says the company stopped paying for his legal defense about 2 months after the FBI raided Cohen's home and office. Cohen pleaded guilty in August to tax crimes, lying to Congress, and campaign finance violations. The Trump Organization has not yet responded.
R. Kelly's legal problems are growing. Just days after the R&B singer posted bail for sexual abuse charges, a judge locked him up for failure to pay child support. He remains jailed today. Authorities say he'll stay there until he comes up with more than $161,000 in unpaid child support. Before his latest arrest, Kelly discussed his finances in an exclusive interview with CBS This Morning's Gayle King.
How can I pay child support? How? If my ex-wife is destroying my name and I can't work, how can I work? How can I get paid? How can I take care of my kids? How?
There are reports that police in Detroit are now looking into a new allegation that Kelly had sex with an underage girl there in 2001. Gayle King's R. Kelly interview will air in a CBS primetime special tomorrow night at 7 our time.
Arizona Senator Martha McSally stunned the room Wednesday during a hearing on sexual assault in the military when she called herself a survivor. Senator McSally, who was the first female fighter pilot to fly in combat, says she's going public now to help others who are in similar situations. She says she is fighting to change how the military responds to sexual assault.
It isn't about me. I wanted to give the perspective of why I am advocating so strongly for our women in the military and why I'm advocating that the command chain has to step up and do their job to rid us of sexual assault.
The Air Force has apologized, issuing a statement saying, "We are appalled and deeply sorry for what Senator McSally experienced, and we stand behind her and all victims of sexual assault."
All right, we turn now to our forecast. Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti joining us, and maybe some precipitation in the days ahead with that bit of a warm-up, Gary.
Yeah, tonight maybe just a little bit of light snow, but I think the better chances for precipitation will be this weekend. Now, in the short term, you can see a little bit of snow trying to show up on Doppler track over parts of eastern Iowa, southern Wisconsin right now, precipitation free. And we actually have some sunshine out there right now, although there is a thin veil of clouds overhead. But you can see there has been some snow falling through the day to our south and to our west across parts of Iowa into central Illinois. A little bit of this might work its way northward far enough to bring some light snow or flurries. Any snow accumulations will be less than an inch, and even that's kind of doubtful. As far as visibilities are concerned, you can see even where it is snowing to our south and west, those visibilities around 9 or 10 miles, so it's mainly just flurries. Now, there are winter weather advisories down to our south for that snow, but more importantly, there are winter storm watches to our north and west, basically just north and west of La Crosse, through Eau Claire, the Twin Cities, much of Minnesota, back into the Dakotas. This is for Saturday night into Sunday, and that is because there could be a fairly significant storm system. Now, we have alert days in the forecast for our precipitation, which will start out in the form of some light snow, freezing rain, and rain early Saturday morning, and then change to rain during the day on Saturday. It'll be windy during the day, so the combination of melting snow as well as rain and the winds could lead to some localized flooding problems And then we'll change back over to some light snow late Saturday night, and Sunday will be windy with light snow and flurries gradually coming to an end. There could be some minor snow accumulations, but with temperatures falling back below freezing, there could also be some icy spots as well. The computer models, the European computer model has been most aggressive with the snow, keeping about a 6 to 10 inch snowfall back through the Twin Cities, just north of Eau Claire and north of La Crosse, but very little in the way of accumulating snow over much of our viewing area. Rainfall amounts, though, could be anywhere between about a ½ inch and an inch or a little bit more. Some of this will be in the form of some light freezing rain early Saturday morning and then some light snow on Sunday, but the majority of it will be in the form of rain. And again, with the melting snow, that will lead to some flooding problems. Live view from the Queen Bee Radio Skycam in Platteville. This is looking back toward the east, shows generally partly cloudy skies. The WISC Skycam looking toward the west shows sunshine still occurring over southern Wisconsin, and the Edgewater Skycam in downtown Madison showing some sunshine on the capital as well. Almanac for today, low temperature 2 degrees. That's 20 degrees below average. Our high temperature of 22, only 17 degrees below normal. Right now we're 21 with partly cloudy skies, winds out of the east-southeast at 7. Our wind chill is at 12 degrees. Well, the storm we're watching for the weekend is just off the map over the southern Pacific Ocean. It'll ride along the jet stream and then basically head toward the Midwest. So this is a separate weather system. The main part of the storm starting to develop well to our south and west, and eventually that could bring not only a winter storm to our north and west, but a severe weather outbreak that could be as far north as the Ohio River. So a lot of big changes in the overall weather pattern as we head into the weekend. We're going to be kind of in the middle of it. So our forecast for tonight calls for skies to be cloudy, some light snow or flurries developing. If there are any snow accumulations, to be less than an inch. Low at 14, then temperatures holding steady overnight. Tomorrow morning, clouds giving way to some sunshine in the afternoon, high temperature at 35. On future track, you can see that just a little chance of some light snow overnight. Then the skies clearing out, and then for tomorrow, the clouds come back in, and by Saturday morning, you can see that mixture of snow, sleet, and freezing rain, but changing over to rain to the south. High temperatures eventually will be in the upper 30s, and again, those rainfall amounts could be pretty substantial, 3/4 of an inch to an inch over much of southern Wisconsin. 10-day forecast calls for those temperatures to turn colder after that weekend storm system, and then a brief warm-up midweek with some showers, maybe even some spring-like thunderstorms, and then temperatures turning cold again. We just can't seem to break out of that cycle. We're going to see below normal temperatures, at least for the time being. As we take a look at our News 3 Now First Alert traffic, some slowdowns on the Beltline. That's the view at Park Street in the Beltline. You can see the westbound traffic really slow. Of course, this time of day, if the sun is shining, you're looking right into the sun, so that slows things down. We're seeing delays on the westbound Beltline beginning around Todd Drive, going back to near John Nolan Drive. Eastbound, they start around John Nolan Drive and go back to west of Verona Road. Right now, a 25-minute commute on the eastbound Beltline from University Avenue to the interstate, 21 minutes going back in the westbound direction. Heading out of Madison, it's 26 minutes down to Janesville on I-3990 from the Beltline, 17 minutes to Middleton on Sauk City from Middleton on US 12, and 18 minutes to Sun Prairie on US 151. That's your News 3 Now First Alert traffic.
All right, Gary, thanks. Ahead on News 3 Now at 5, the Justice Department taking aim at financial scams targeting older Americans. We'll explain after a short break. The Department of Justice has brought charges against hundreds of defendants who allegedly targeted people over the age of 60.
Officials say it's the department's largest ever nationwide crackdown on elder fraud schemes. DeMarco Morgan reports.
The Justice Department is taking aim at financial scams targeting older Americans.
This is a particularly despicable crime because and it's a massive and growing problem.
Attorney General William Barr on Thursday announced the results of the latest federal crackdown on elder fraud.
It's despicable because the people involved are vulnerable, and because of their stage in life, they don't have the opportunity frequently to recover.
In the past year, criminal and civil charges have been filed against 260 defendants
who allegedly defrauded more than 2 million Americans of more than $750 million.
Officials say the scammers will target nearly anyone. Among their would-be victims was 95-year-old William Webster, the former head of both the CIA and the FBI.
My husband received a phone call from someone claiming to be the head of a Mega Millions lottery. The catch was Bill needed to send him $50,000 in cash to pay the taxes on the lottery.
The caller's tone soon went from solicitous to threatening.
When I got on the phone, he basically said that he was going to kill me.
The swindler was arrested last year.
I feel so sorry for older people who get this good news of the money they've won, and they are going to be terribly disappointed.
The DOJ says older consumers are more likely to fall for scams that involve computers and the internet because many aren't tech savvy enough to recognize them. DeMarco Morgan, CBS News, New York.
And stay with us. We'll have a final check of your forecast in just a moment.
Gary's here with the final check.
Pretty quiet out there right now. It's possible we could see a little bit of snow from that system to our south later on tonight, maybe a couple of flurries or just some light snow. Temperatures still on the cold side. We're in the lower 20s. This time of year, we should be looking at high temperatures in the upper 30s. And we're not going to be near that for most of the time. We'll be near it, but still below it. And then that alert days for the weekend for rain, mixing with and changing to snow on Sunday, and then another storm system about the middle of next week for the brief warm up.
More updates in 30 minutes. The CBS Evening News is next.